Hello, hello, hello. Jordan Sheridan, live on a Tuesday. I hope everyone's having a lovely, lovely day. I have one viewer so far, so that's exciting. Let me put in the information in the description here for our GoFundMe, which we are avidly growing. Here we go. Support our reporting GoFundMe so we can get back in the field. Here we go. All right, that is saved. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook, and we are live on Twitter. So excited to be live here. Let me make sure you could see me. Okay, everything seems to be working. We have, oh, you know why? I think I know why. Joe Rogan is live right now. Joe Rogan is live with Kyle Kulinski. So might have a few less viewers today, but that's okay. And if I sound at all, like I have a lisp today, it's because I just went to the dentist. I thought I was getting a cavity filled, only to be told I need a root canal. So they began on that root canal, and because I don't have dental insurance, that is going to cost me over $3,000. So I'm super excited about that because I don't have the money to pay for that. However, I had to get it started anyway. So I'm a little numb on this side of my mouth, but I'm going to forge forward anyway. Definitely press the share button. Let's get this out to as many people as we can on Facebook, especially because they do what they can to suppress the stream here. As always, this is a super chat. So if you're feeling super, if you want to contribute to my root canal, which I'm going to have to pay for, go to Mexico, man, get some teeth. You know what? It's interesting you say that because obviously I've covered the Flint water crisis heavily, and a lot of people in Flint have lost teeth as a result of the lead. And because they don't have Medicare for all, because basically the government poisoned them and then didn't provide them the Medicare for all they need, I know people in Flint that have literally driven down to Mexico to get their teeth, root canals, dental care, and those things. You know how far the drive is from Flint, Michigan to Mexico? This is poisoned citizens that have had to drive down to Mexico to get their teeth done. It's astounding. Astounding. So, Alex Canabosum says, Jordan! Exclamation point. Alex, thank you for joining. I think we're going to have a few less viewers today because I just saw that Joe Rogan is live. And I think a lot of our viewers actually watch Joe Rogan too. So, that's okay. We'll deal. So, a lot going on in the news. Obviously, you have Trump creating a great fear. There's a great fear that Trump is creating about the migrant caravans. It's obviously nonsense. He has called this the election over the caravans. It's kind of absurd, but it's Trump, so gotta expect that. But vegan kids. Says vegan kids, whatever that means. And Alex says, I made my choice, here to stay. Why, thank you. I happen to like Joe Rogan a lot. I would love to get on his show, hint, hint. But he seems pretty selective on who he has on his show. So start the campaign to get on Joe Rogan. Adam says, Rogan seems a little cray-cray to me. I like Joe Rogan. I've watched one or two of his episodes. I like his style. I like who he has on. I watched him with Jimmy. So I like him, and I'd love to get on with him because to tell you the truth, guy's got a mega audience, so it would definitely help us for sure. We just passed 21,000 subscribers on the YouTube, so upward and onward. It's like we just passed 20,000 subscribers last week, and we've already gained 1,000. So things are really starting to move. Excited about that, and announcing here for the first time. We only got 20 viewers on YouTube, but how many do we have on Facebook? Okay. Got 25 on Facebook, so that's good. I am announcing a big announcement. On Sunday, we are doing a marathon live stream. This Sunday. What's the date on Sunday? We are doing a marathon live stream the 28th. October 28th, we are doing a marathon live stream starting at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And we are doing that marathon for two reasons. Because we will be launching statuscoup.com and by extension, Status Coup. This bad boy that you have all been hearing about for quite some time. So on Sunday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m., so wake up with me on the West Coast, we will be launching a marathon live stream. It is going to be in part to show you statuscoup.com. It is going to be in part to persuade you or try to persuade you to become a member for Status Coup. And we are also going to be pushing our GoFundMe, which, will there be dancing girls? No, but I'll dance if you want. I'll dance if you want. And we will be, as always, pushing the GoFundMe because, folks, we are close to our goal for at least this month. We wanted to raise $15,000 by the end of this month, and we are about a little less than 2,000 away from that. So we think it's possible. That's part of why I'm doing the live stream on Sunday. So if you want to, I know there's football and things like that, but if you want to spend your Sunday with me, we're going to be talking about a whole lot of other things. And I'm going to ask throughout this live stream for you to email me your ideas and what stories you want to see covered on my live stream this Sunday. I don't know how long I'm going for. I'm thinking a couple hours. And we're going to go till we can't go anymore. We're going to go get this GoFundMe up and to celebrate the launch of statuscoup.com. So I hope you'll join me on Sunday. Again, 12 noon. And we'll be sending out an email. We'll be sending out an email to our email subscribers. So if you're not on my email list yet, go to jordanchariton.com right now and join the email list. So Lucky Doer says, check it in. Good to see you back and aggressive as hell, Jordan. I don't always agree, but I've always liked your drive and commitment. Good things are coming for Status Coup. Lucky Doer, I'm feeling lucky. Thank you for the nice comment. Adam Nation, will Jen be around? She's not in New York, but she will be part of the live stream, yes. So she'll be in the live chat, and we're going to do some other things to involve her. And Jen is right now making the finishing touches to the website. That's why she's not in the live stream today. So I'll be going live with you here and typing in things to the live stream. I love Charlie LaDuff. I just finished his book, Detroit, Alex. He's amazing, Charlie LaDuff. So that's a good idea to interview him. But we are launching the website. We have developed and earned 21,000 YouTube subscribers without a website and without launching. And the reason the website has taken a while is, frankly, we have a great supporter of ours who has been doing it on the side from his full-time job. So he's doing it basically for free. And frankly, we needed it for free. And he's done an amazing job. The website looks great. We're just working out the last kinks, but we're going to rain or shine. We're launching this Sunday. So join me at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. West Pacific Coast Time. And I want your ideas. We're going to try to get some interviews to sprinkle in there, and we're going to try to raise money for the GoFundMe so we could get out in the field and do some reporting. So, as a reminder, this is a super chat. So if you're feeling super, you want to leave a couple bucks, feel free. And we definitely want to raise money in the GoFundMe as we're live. And Facebook, I'm paying attention to you too. So Candace Hillner-Jutt says, we still need to know how we're going House of Feed to close and take care of these migrants. Who else? Brandon says, you were a great part of TYT. Why, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. Frankie D. Wiggins says, you're going to talk more about election theft with Status Coup. You better damn believe I am. There's already unprecedented election theft. I've been trying to get an interview with Greg Palast, who is doing amazing work on the purging in Georgia, Nebraska, Indiana, Nevada. I haven't gotten a response from him yet, so start the campaign. I want to interview you, Greg Palast. But yes, we're going to be covering that for Status Coup. And right now we have 3 potential stories that we're bouncing around and trying to get some confirmation for that we could go out in the field. So we've been a little limited going in the field, both because we don't have the money, which is part of the GoFundMe, and also Ty is having a major neck problem. But a viewer, because I announced it that we need help for Ty, a viewer who's a physical therapist in the Los Angeles area is going to see Ty this weekend. So thank you to that viewer for reaching out. Ty is appreciative of you, and he is working on other things for us behind the scenes right now. So there's a guy named Barack Obama. He was the 44th president of the United States of America. He was the first African American president of the United States of America. Anthony says, no notification. Also, Mike Goat needs an Android app so I could download it. Anthony, I just had a conversation with somebody from Mike Goat this morning, and they are working right now on actually getting that Android app. So I'll talk about the Mike Goat app again. If you weren't here yesterday, we have our first official sponsor, so that's exciting. Obama. Obviously, if you ask me, Obama was a better president than Trump. There's a lot about Obama I don't like. I think he pretty much ran as a progressive and then sprinted as far as he could to the center. The healthcare plan was basically a Republican plan. It's better than nothing, Obamacare, but it's not what the country so desperately needs, which is Medicare for all. He continued George W. Bush's endless war and military-industrial complex. He did nothing against bankers, criminal bankers, and frankly, I see it when I'm in the field. Didn't do a lot for black people either. Just keeping it real. So the bottom line is this. Obama has been relatively silent as an ex-president for over 2 years, but he has been going out hard on the campaign trail. And he is now going out on the campaign trail 2 weeks. Today is 2 weeks before the midterm elections to basically push for centrist Democrats because he wants the Democrats to retake the House, preferably the Senate too, and continue on with incrementalism, gradualism, and the politics of gradual change, as he calls it, which is another word for neoliberalism. So here's what Obama had to say on the campaign trail in Vegas, just yesterday, I believe. Here we go.
The biggest threat to our democracy is indifference. The biggest threat to our democracy is cynicism that says we're just going to stay home because my voice doesn't matter. But listen, I won states because 10 people extra in every precinct voted. I won that state because of that. The last election, it was probably the same number of people that could fit into a football stadium swayed the entire election. Don't tell me your vote doesn't matter. If you don't like what's going on right now, and you shouldn't, don't complain. Don't get anxious. Don't throw up your hands. Don't boo. Vote. And when you vote, not just for these candidates, but up and down the line for mayors and sheriffs and district attorneys, you have the power to make sure our voting rights are protected.
Hold on. If this decides to work again. Sorry, folks. This computer's has so many tabs open. It's deciding to be rough with me, so give me 1 second. Come on, Obama. Say what I need you to say. Here we go. All right. Come on.
From one person in the White House or Republicans from one. The threat to our democracy does not come from one person in the White House or Republicans in Congress or big money lobbyists. The biggest threat to our democracy is indifference. The biggest threat to our democracy is cynicism that says we're just going to stay home because my voice doesn't matter. But listen, I won states because 10 people extra in every precinct voted. I won that state because of that.
So I'm going to load this from the top one more time.
The last election, it was probably the same number of people that could fit into a football stadium swayed the entire election. Don't tell me your vote doesn't matter. If you don't like what's going on right now, and you shouldn't, don't complain. Don't get anxious. Don't throw up your hands. Don't.
So there you have it. You have the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, saying the greatest threat to democracy, is not the Republicans, is not lobbyists, is indifference. So that's interesting. So President Obama, who I recall in 2008, I recall in 2010, I recall in 2012, and I recall in 2014 saying, this is the most important election of your lifetime. They said that for every election, and they said it there, and 2016. So he's basically, every election, he has said, this is the most important election of our lifetimes. But Obama seems to think that the biggest threat isn't the Republican Party, it's not lobbyists peddling influence, it's just indifference. Well, I beg to differ. With President Obama, because bottom line, the biggest threat is indifference to neoliberalism, the revolving door of lobbyists, banks, corporations, politicians, and the media, and thinking that putting Democrats in is going to create widespread change if those Democrats aren't walking the walk on progressive terms. I think Obama is better than Trump, but Obama sounds good. He says the right things. He has very, very soaring rhetoric. He's had it for a decade or more. But in reality, it's talk. Because when he had the opportunity to stem the influence of lobbyists, which he said he was going to do, and he did not, which I'm about to show you, when he had the opportunity to actually take on the Republican Party with a huge mandate from the American people at his sails, he did not. When he had the opportunity to take on the bankers and the banks, he did not. Why? Because he got, at that point in 2008, the most money from big banks in the history of presidential campaigning. He did nothing to stem the military-industrial complex, as my friend the Salt Lakers says in the chat, which, as a reminder, super chat if you're feeling super. So, excuse me, when I hear Obama, and granted, he's not saying that lobbyists aren't a threat at all. He's saying the biggest threat to democracy is indifference. No, the biggest threat to democracy is pretend progressives, pretend everymans, pretend populists continually saying, if you don't vote for us, the Antichrist is going to get elected. If you vote for us, change will come. When their actions and their donors say differently. And a lot of people don't like that I criticize the Democrats. And boy, have I gotten a lot of crap over the last 2 days for daring to criticize Democrats 2 weeks before election. Jordan, I've even been asked, we like that you criticize Democrats, but could you wait till November 7th? Because apparently journalism is a forum that I'm supposed to selectively just kind of take a vacation from criticize Democrats to prop them up. But let me tell you something. For any politician to say that the greatest threat to democracy is not lobbyists, for any politician to say the greatest threat to democracy is not lobbying that is done by the big banks, the oil companies, the pharmaceutical companies, Silicon Valley, big real estate, big financial firms, that's BS. Because you can't have a democracy if you don't have elected representatives that represent people, but they represent special interests, and those special interests are dominated by lobbyists. Brian Irvin says, biggest threat to democracy is the commodification and corporatization of every facet of our lives, media, education, healthcare. Totally agree. Totally agree. Status C. Hadish. So Jordan going to make commentary on Politicon? No, I'm not. I didn't watch any of it. Not my thing. Sorry. These conferences to me are kind of dumb. I'm more interested in going in the field and covering real stories than going and debating right-wing lunatics. I mean, if somebody flew me out to the next Politicon and they want me to debate a right-wing lunatic, I'll do it. But to be honest with you, I think a lot of these conferences are just so people can have their egos stroked and, create a buzz. I'm not pointing out anyone in specific, but I think it's, there's a lot more important things to cover, and there's a lot more important things that the money that goes to Politicon can go to covering real injustices in America. So Paul says, I don't think we have a democracy anymore to threaten. I completely agree with you. So to me, you put a gun to my head. Do I think Obama is much better than Trump? Of course I do. But the problem is when we continue talking about, let's listen to Obama and let's vote it back in the Democrats to retake the House because Trump is the Antichrist. The problem with that is you put back into the driver's seat the very party that has given you crumbs, that has told you that they're fighting for you, but continues to give you crumbs. And I could tell you, some people say crumbs is better than nothing. Well, what I see out in the country and what I've seen for the last 3 years, people need more than crumbs, folks. People need more than crumbs. There are people living paycheck to paycheck that might lose their homes this month. There are people choosing between medicine or groceries for their kids. So that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. But what I really think is interesting, Obama saying, lobbyists aren't the biggest threat. Well, of course he doesn't think that because he didn't do anything about lobbyists, even though he said he was going to rise the oceans and stem the toxic political influence peddling when he was president. PolitiFact, who I think in many cases is totally full of shit, on this one they got it right. Obama, tougher rules against revolving door for lobbyists and former officials. Promise broken. Promise broken. So here we go. Of the 513 promises we're tracking, this one has become the most controversial. It is the cornerstone of President Obama's campaign theme about limiting the influence of special interests. During the campaign, Obama said many times that lobbyists would not run his White House, and the campaign delighted in tweaking rival John McCain for the former lobbyists who worked on McCain's campaign. Obama's ethics proposal specifically spelled out that former lobbyists would not be allowed to work on regulations or contracts directly and substantially related to their prior employers for 2 years. On his first full day in office, Obama signed an executive order to that effect. But the order has a loophole, a waiver clause that allows former lobbyists to serve. The waiver clause has been used at least 3 times, and in some cases, the administration allows former lobbyists to serve without a waiver. After examining the administration's actions for the past 2 months, we have concluded that Obama has broken his promise. The waiver process in the executive order is certainly official looking, but the waivers are granted by the Obama administration and are little more than the administration saying a former lobbyist is okay. For a candidate who pledged to conduct business out in the open, there's little transparency about when a waiver is required. Even good government advocates we spoke with who promised Obama's overall policy found the waiver process to be unclear. So basically, that was 2009. So Obama certainly granted a lot more waivers throughout his administration. And then if you look at his administration after he left office, not a lot different than every other administration that Obama denied. The past 18 months have been difficult for former members of the Obama administration. They've been replaced by a regime which, in the words of former Domestic Policy Council Director Melody Barnes, quote, shows virtually no respect for constitutional principles or often basic human decency. And now they could do little more than complain about their successor's parade of outrages. Our democracy is under attack, warned former Attorney General Eric Holder. Former Assistant AG Lanny Brewer called the Trump administration's immigration agenda, quote, contrary to the core values of this nation. conscientious public servants, quote, cannot stay silent, wrote former Department of Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson, who also said President Donald Trump's separation of migrant children from their asylum-seeking parents is immoral and un-American. Former White House spokesperson Jay Carney worried about the country's, quote, the country's credibility under Trump. And yet, for all the damage the Trump administration is doing to American democracy, several prominent Obama alums seem to have quietly made their peace with a subtler attack on the legitimacy of U.S. institutions. Today, many are leading the prestige of their White House resumes to scandal-fraught organizations in return for large sums of cash. Some are even doing business with the Trump administration. Plenty of former Obama officials are leading scholarly lives as academics, working with nonprofits or in sectors of the corporate world far from the purview of their previous duties in Washington. Obama spokesperson Eric Schultz told HuffPost on that Obama, quote, implemented unprecedented ethic rules, including cracking down on the revolving door by prohibiting former lobbyists from working on issues on which they lobbied, and by preventing appointees from lobbying the White House after working there. Schultz then added that President Obama's White House was the first in modern history to not have a major scandal. None of the officials named in the article would comment on the record. These days, Johnson receives $290,000 a year to serve on the board of directors at Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is such a symbol of the new kind of politics that Obama talked about. The largest American defense contractor and the world's biggest weapons manufacturer. It has been fined over $767 million for various forms of misconduct. If we move on here, Barnes is also working as a defense contractor, earning up to $210,000 a year, serving on the board of Booz Allen Hamilton, which held 8 meetings in 2017. There's more. Ride-sharing titan Uber also hired Barnes in May 2016 in an apparent effort to clean up its image as a stream of Uber scandals began. And, of course, Jay Carney, Obama's former press secretary, is now a big honcho at Amazon, who's doing a number on its, they raised the minimum wage, but they're certainly not helping with their working conditions quite yet. Uber seems to have been a preferred pad for Obama officials. Former Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood joined Barnes on the Policy Advisory Board, and Obama's 2008 campaign manager, David Plouffe, worked as senior vice president at the company from August 2014 until January 2017. He was fined $90,000 by the city of Chicago for illegally lobbying the city's mayor, Rob Emanuel, while working for Uber. Emanuel, who served as Obama's first White House chief of staff, has distinguished himself as a mayor by covering up the police shooting of Laquan McDonald, and now he's not running for re-election. As Attorney General, Holder refused to prosecute Wall Street crime related to the 2008 financial crisis, even as banks agreed to pay billions upon billions of dollars in settlement after settlement with the federal government. Even in cases where major banking institutions pleaded guilty to felony charges, Holder and the DOJ declined to prosecute any actual bankers for crimes. So it makes a pervasive kind of sense that Holder is now a partner at the law firm of Covington and Burlington, a DC-based outfit that specializes in work on behalf of the banking industry. In a remarkable interview with MSNBC's Chris Hayes, Holder downplayed the significance of financial misconduct, suggesting that law enforcement agencies have more important things to deal with. Yeah, more important things to deal with than the global financial crash brought to you by criminal bankers that Barack Obama let out of jail free. Am I missing something, folks? Am I missing something? Paul says, no, sir. It drove us straight to the gates of hell. I agree. And all this talk that America has come back and the economy is roaring, not who I meet out in the field. They're still barely treading water from the financial crash of a decade ago. Adam Nation says, re-education for the lot of them. I agree. So I'm sorry that I find President Obama, who's going out and stumping for centrist Democrats so we could get our centrist Democrats pals back in Congress. And yeah, would centrist Democrats be better than extremist Republicans? Yeah, but better is not good enough. We need real change in this country. And if you continually get suckered in by Barack Obama and Joe Biden, who I'm going to get to in a little bit, and all these centrist Democrats who are really servants of Wall Street, servants of big oil, servants of Silicon Valley, servants of the big pharma, you're getting crumbs for the rest of your life, however long that lasts. And by the way, there's a new story out that America's life expectancy is down compared to some third world countries. I wonder why. Because half the people are poor and half the people have no health care. Maybe that's why. Rob says, Jordan, you don't understand that you need more neoliberalism, not less. Geez. Rob, I hope you're fucking kidding. Boop. Demonetized. I don't care. By the way, this is a super chat. So if you want to support Status Quo, if you want us to get back in the field, if you want to support me, feel free to leave a couple bucks in the super chat. I think we have less viewers today because who I like, what's his face? Joe Rogan is live right now with Kyle Kalinske, who I also like. So I think we probably went wrong at the wrong time, but went live at the wrong time. And by the way, in addition, if you weren't here for the beginning, we're doing an all day live marathon live stream on Sunday to try as we launch statusquo.com on Sunday, starting at 12 noon. Starting next week, I will be live at the same time every day, 5 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday, maybe not, because I'm getting a root canal. But every other day, I'll be live at 5 p.m. Eastern. Appointment internet. So make sure you attend every day, 5 p.m. Eastern, rain or shine, unless I have root canals or other things like that. And I will put the link in here one more time for you folks. We're at $13,115 of the GoFundMe. We're trying to get to $15,000 by the end of this month. And thank you, Neilon, getting the super chat started today. And $2. Thank you, Neilon. And Joe says, and Jordan will be dancing live. I will dance as long as you keep the support coming. I will dance live. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to have videos that Jen does, and we're going to have videos that Ty does about why you need to become a member to Status Quo. Because our motto long-term is going to be membership. We need an independent media revolution in this country, and it starts with you guys. So, from Obama, and I'm taking on Republicans today too. Paul Ryan's comments on Medicare for All, I want to punch that guy in the face. Don't come after me, FBI. This man is abhorrent. This man can't leave Congress soon enough. Thank God he's leaving Congress. But Joe Biden, oh my Lord, the media has already been starting. The media has already been starting with their puff pieces because they want Joe Biden to run for president. Excuse me. They want Joe Biden to run for president because they want the status quo back. That's why we're launching Status Quo. So I found it very interesting that Joe Biden is getting a civil rights award. Here you go. Biden-Jackson received Freedom Awards, National Civil Rights Museum. Former Vice President Joe Biden was honored alongside Reverend Jesse Jackson and philanthropist Pitt Hyde with Freedom Awards from the National Civil Rights Museum. The 27th annual award ceremony took place in downtown Memphis on Wednesday, honoring individuals who have made a global impact. In his remarks at the event, Biden told attendees that the country needs their energy and leadership, and that battle for the soul of America is taking place. I'll play a little bit for you.
I'm here to tell you that once again, we need your energy. Once again, we need your leadership. Once again, we need your renewed commitment to civil rights and civil justice. Because much of what you fought for and I played a small part in fighting for, and much of what you accomplished is under siege now. Like no time since I've been involved in public life. I got involved because my state was segregated. But we need to renew this struggle now. We need to renew the fight. Because when it comes to freedom, equality, racial justice, hope often travels on the same track as hate.
Those are powerful words, let me tell you. Say it ain't so, Joe. So Joe Biden is getting a civil rights award. And I thought to myself when I saw that, wait a minute. Is this the same Joe Biden? Is this the same Joe Biden that wrote the crime bill? Is this the same Joe Biden that wrote the crime bill that put more black people in jail than any other law in American history? You know what I'm talking about? The 1994 crime bill, the 3 strikes that Bill Clinton signed that incarcerated more black men than anything else in American history. You know, my main exposure to this was on the 2016 campaign trail when I was at the Young Turks. I was down in South Carolina before that primary. And I tried to do something a little different. So I went to a barbershop, a black-owned barbershop. And while I was getting my hair cut, I had a little bit more hair. If you notice, I'm thinning a little bit. But I had a little bit more hair. And the barber was nice enough to do an interview with me on camera. And then I spoke with other people at the barber. And it was super interesting because a lot of them were for Bernie specifically because of the crime bill that Bill Clinton signed and that Hillary Clinton supported. And they talked about jails that were opened right down the street because of that crime bill, and how their brothers and their cousins and their relatives have been in jail in some cases for marijuana or powdered cocaine. What they didn't mention, because many of them might not know, is Joe Biden, who just received a civil rights award, championed that legislation. He also championed welfare reform that threw single mothers off of welfare, majority black. So let's take a listen. When Joe Biden was asked in 2016, does he regret drafting the crime bill? Let's take a listen to that.
Yeah, this idea of Medicare for all, Medicare sounds good.
One.
So it should be for everybody. What that means is you will.
Another thing about how perspectives change over time. Bobby Rush, member of Congress, said the other day, "I'm ashamed that I voted for the '94 crime bill." You ashamed of that bill?
Not at all. And in fact, I drafted the bill, as you remember.
I know that.
And by the way, we talk about this mostly in terms of Black Lives Matter. Black lives really do matter. But the problem is institutional racism in America. That's the overarching problem that still exists. And we should be talking about it. And you look at it, the legacy of racism in housing and jobs and so on. But having said that, if you take a look at the crime bill, of the money in the crime bill, the vast majority went to reducing sentences, diverting people from going to jail for drug offenses into what I came up with, the drug courts, providing for boot camps instead of sending people to prison so you didn't relearn whatever the bad thing that got you there in the first place. Put 100,000 cops in the street. When community policing was working, neighborhoods were not only safer, but they were more harmonious. And when the reason why the cops originally opposed my 100,000 cops for this community policing piece is because it's high intensive and it means they got to get out of their cars. So they literally got out of their cars and learned who owned the local drugstore, the local neighborhood.
Not at all. Not at all. Say it ain't so, Joe. He's not at all. He doesn't regret it at all. The majority of money went to people taking people out of prison, not putting people in prison. The majority of money went to making sure people didn't go to prison, Joe Biden says. I mean, you can't make this up, folks. You cannot make this up. He says the biggest problem is institutional racism. Well, it's pretty racist. It's pretty kind of linked to institutional racism. Throwing more black people in prison than at any other time in American history. That's pretty racist. Am I wrong? Am I, as they call Jimmy Dore, toxic? Am I toxic for pointing out that a man that wrote the bill that put more black people in jail in America than at any other presidency in American history? Yes, Bill Clinton signed it. He wrote it. That he's getting awards for civil rights, and he, 2 years ago, is literally lying. He's lying. let me talk about institutional racism. You wrote a bill that disproportionately put black people in jail for marijuana or powdered cocaine. Nealon says, so toxic, pointing out these facts. I guess so. But, hey, I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care. Because I don't play for the Democrats or the Republicans. I play for you and the truth. And that might not make me as much money as just being on Team Blue or Team Red. But I don't really give a shit. I don't do this only for money. But we do need money. So this is a super chat. This is a super chat if you're feeling super. And we have a GoFundMe going. Nobody's contributed while we're live, so I'm putting it in. I'm putting it in one more time, folks. If I don't advocate for status quo, who will? But it's astounding to me. It's astounding to me the alternative reality that politicians like Joe Biden paint, and the media just sits there and frankly swallows it. I mean, that was CNBC, so of course that stooge isn't going to challenge him. But you literally have, and by the way, I'm white, so it's not as personal to me. But one of my best friends in the world is Thai. I have other black friends. I disproportionately go cover black communities. I've been to Flint 12 times. I've been to East Chicago 7 times. Standing Rock was not predominantly black, but I go and cover those minorities. I go and cover those with less of a voice. I go and cover communities that are being stomped on. And a lot of those communities are being stomped on because they're poor as well as the color of their skin. Cheryl, hello Jordan, 40 minutes later. Okay, I'm here. YouTube is late. I'm not. Cheryl, you're not in trouble. YouTube is. But to me, it is absolutely insane. And by the way, gotta keep it real. Shame on, what is this? What is the name of this museum? Shame on the National Civil Rights Museum. I mean, I'm white, so I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but did you research this man? Did you research him? It's not only the crime bill. It's the crime bill. It's welfare reform. He was one of the leading people in the Senate to deregulate the banks. Do you know who is disproportionately screwed by the 2008 criminal financial crash? Black people. I mean, this pisses me off. And you know what? We're going to have Politico and the Washington Post and CNN and MSNBC. 2016 was Extreme Makeover Hillary edition. We're going to have 2020 Extreme Makeover Biden edition if he runs. Be happy, be grateful. Thank you for the $1.99 of the super chat. Thank you very much. Batchat says, if only they had a 3-strike law for bankruptcy, the orange man would not have a business to fund his platform. I agree. If only they had term limits, too, which is one of the things I want to cover in the field for status quo. Because there is a movement trying to push term limits, and it's picking up a little steam. We just need the funding. Where are we at? Where are we at, baby? Hold on. All right. Still at 13,115, but I'm okay with it. We'll get there. We will get there. So I just got to say, we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more of the totally repainting of Joe Biden's record. We're going to see more ridiculous awards that he shouldn't get. And you know what? The bottom line is this. The people that are going to suffer most are African Americans and black people. If a Joe Biden, well, let me rephrase that because Trump is worse for them. But this rewriting of history, this giving accolades and awards to the very people who have screwed our black brothers and sisters is offensive to the black community and is offensive to actual civil rights. We need to base our political discourse on facts, not a extreme makeover of history. Thank you, Nealon. $2. Support independent news. Democracy dies if not. I agree. And the only way to retake democracy is if we wake more people up. Jerry Young, $2 in the super chat. Will status quo gear be sold on the site when it launches? It will not be sold right away because that requires a trademark. So we had to trademark the name of status quo. You also have to trademark selling products, which we did not do yet. So we're trying to add that, but it's a process. So right now we are giving away shirts and hats as part of the GoFundMe. So as I've been saying all along for the GoFundMe, $100 gets you a Status Quo hat or shirt. We've already started ordering them, and Jen is mailing it out this week to the first people that ordered. I've shown you the hats and shirts on air. They look badass. We also have Status Quo stickers, which we're going to be adding in. We have Status Quo. I got Status Quo business cards, too, which I'm excited because I've started handing them out to people. So we're making it. But $100 gets you a Status Quo hat or shirt. $127 gets you both. $200 in the GoFundMe gets you a Status Quo swag bag, which I want one, which gets you signed stuff and a hat, shirt, and other things too. So I know not everybody has $100 or $127 or $200. So whatever you could do. And if you don't have money at all to contribute, please just share the GoFundMe. I'll put it here in the chat one more time. Jen is out doing something for business right now, so she's not here. And I am live streaming and handling the chat too. And at the end of this live stream, I'll do a bit of a Q&A for you guys too, so you know a little bit more. If you came late to this, Sunday, we are doing a marathon live stream, 12 p.m., noon Eastern, because we're launching statusquo.com on Sunday, and super excited. Statusquo.com will be launched Sunday. I will be live noon Eastern time. Noon Eastern time, we are doing a marathon live stream. We'll have some surprises for you. And we are also going to be trying to raise money for the GoFundMe and trying to get our first members signed up to statusquo.com, because we are going to have membership on Status Quo. So I'll be live at 12 p.m. Eastern time. You on the West Coast, hopefully you wake up by 9 a.m. You could join me. I don't know how long I'm going to go. As long as you'll take me, I'll be live. So, bottom line, make sure to your establishment ante, make sure to your neoliberal friends that you correct the record on Joe Biden. Because if he runs, the media is going to cheerlead for him the same way they did for Hillary Clinton. And he is not a friend of civil rights. His record has been demonstrably awful for African Americans. And he is a friend of the banks, a friend of big oil, and a friend of big pharma. I don't care what they call him. He's not middle class Joe. He also voted for NAFTA, and he was for TPP. So get out of here with that bullshit. So, before I move on, if you didn't follow yesterday, we now have a sponsor, our first sponsor. It's MikeGoat, which is a cool video app. So get on MikeGoat. Go and download it. Right now, it's only available for iOS. So if you have an iPhone, definitely download MikeGoat. MikeGoat. Once you download it, join the Status Quo community. We are the featured app. What MikeGoat does is it's a video debate app. So they push topics that could be debated on one way or the other, and you could go on there and debate strangers or friends. Who knows? So Status Quo right now has my videos, and I've done 2 videos for them, and the recent one I did was on Prop C, which is on the ballot in San Francisco. It's a ballot measure that will raise taxes 0.5% on companies making more than $50 million a year, like Twitter, so that they could pay to get people off the streets. Homelessness is out of control in San Francisco, in large part because companies like Twitter, YouTube, Facebook have created gentrification on steroids and have been driving poor people out. And a lot of those homeless people used to be working people that are now homeless and can't afford to live in San Francisco. So for measly 0.5% increase in taxes that Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and all them should be paying, Prop C would get passed and we'd have less people on the streets. There's also money going for mental health treatment for those homeless people. I think it's a worthy cause, and if you want to debate me on it, my video's up there. You click on the video and you could debate me on it, or you could agree with me, whatever you want. But the more people that download MikeGoat, MikeGoat, the more people that download it, the more people that interact with it, the better for Status Quo. We are doing this business not by taking money from big companies, not by taking money from big Democratic or Republican Party bosses. We're not taking any of that money. We're doing it through sponsorships, partnerships, and membership with people and companies that are aligned with our vision. So, we took on Obama today. We've taken on Joe Biden, middle class Joe, which is laughable. So now let's take on Paul Ryan, who is a grade A douchebag. if you agree. And he's leaving Congress, but on his way out, he's lying about Medicare for all, and he's trying to scare people. So let me play you this ridiculous clip from our friend, Speaker Paul Ryan, a.k.a. an Ayn Rand worshiper. Okay? You ready for Paul Ryan? Here we go.
Yeah, this idea of Medicare for all, Medicare sounds good, so it should be for everybody. What that means is you will destroy and obliterate the private health insurance system, the employer-sponsored health insurance system. Oh, and by the way, you'll hasten the bankruptcy of Medicare. That's the thing with socialism. Maggie Thatcher said it right, which is eventually you run out of other people's money to spend. Socialism is long on promises and extremely short on delivering on its promises. And so what Medicare for all basically proposes to do is completely destroy the kind of health insurance system that families who get their health insurance from work, hurt seniors who are counting on Medicare's promises, and put government in between ourselves and our own health care. It is the hollow, empty promise of socialism that will do so much to harm the very issues we care about: good health care, access to good health care, having choices, having innovation. Socialism ruins those things.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Where do you even start with that bullshit? Where do you start with that nonsense? And of course, Paul Ryan's going to go become a lobbyist somewhere when he leaves Congress. He might even become a lobbyist for the pharmaceutical industry. I'd put my money on it. Trudy, thank you for the $2 in the super chat. Do D's want minorities to vote? Yeah, they want minorities to vote, and then they don't want to do anything for those minorities when they get into office. That's the Democrats for you. But first of all, Paul Ryan says that Medicare for all would obliterate private insurance, would obliterate Medicare for seniors, would obliterate all these things. First of all, private insurance can exist. These Republicans love themselves some competition, right? Love competition. Well, if an individual doesn't want government health care, that individual can go get private insurance if they want. Nobody's stopping them. It's the same thing with free public college. If you're an individual who doesn't want free public college and wants to go to a fancier, more expensive private school, go for it if you have the money for it. So Medicare for all would not totally obliterate private insurance. What it would do is offer a government plan. Okay? So yes, it would severely decimate private insurance, because more people would want to go on government health insurance, but nobody is mandated. Nobody is mandated. So, for example, I have a friend in Europe, in a socialized country. When I was in Germany, we spoke, and for a rare illness that person had, yes, Germany has universal single-payer Medicare for all, if you wish, but they needed to go see a specialist that was not on that system. So she did, because it was a rare illness and she wanted the best, and she couldn't get that doctor through government health care. So she did. But for 99% of her other medical needs, it's provided by the government. So the issue isn't that Medicare for all, as Mrs. Ayn Rand himself said, would obliterate the private insurance company. It would severely depress the private insurance company, and Paul Ryan doesn't want that, because the private insurance company keeps the money flowing for him and Mitch McConnell's neck. Or turkey neck, shall I say, because Thanksgiving's coming up, so, it's a special day for turkey neck. Mitch McConnell. I mean, you can't make this nonsense up. He says it would obliterate Medicare for seniors. No, it wouldn't. Medicare would not change for seniors. This would just bring in everyone else under 55. So that's fear-mongering and nonsense. It would obliterate employer-based health insurance. Yeah, you don't need it from your employer if you're getting it from the government. And by the way, that's a good thing, because employers pay money. They have to pay towards that employer health insurance. So if employers have more money that they're not paying towards health insurance, it could go to, dare I say, salaries, because they factor in the health insurance costs that they have per employee into your salary. Am I missing something here, folks? Am I naive? All this talk that it's going to obliterate this and get rid of this is nonsense. Yeah, it's going to take away certain things because you're getting health care through the government. And this is what Republicans do, and they scare the hell out of people, and they rally their base through fear and lies. And the Democrats have no message, have no real rebuttal, because they're not running on any principle, and they don't want Medicare for all because they too are servants to their donors. Servants to their donors. And thank you. We just got a contribution on GoFundMe from Ruth Rudin, $20. And Leopoldo Lemus donated $20. And Thomas donated $10 and posted a comment. Thomas Moore says, Joe7777B, don't know what that means, but thank you to all three of you. That's $70 raised in the last 10 minutes. So let's keep it going. What are we at here in the GoFundMe? We are at $13,205. So getting closer to our goal by the day. That's why we're doing the live stream Sunday. We want to get to $15,000 by the end of October. So your contributions make a big difference. $100 gets you a Status Quo hat or shirt. $127 gets you both. $200 gets you a swag bag with all sorts of goodies and signed material as well. So thank you to all 223 people who have contributed, and let's keep going. So Paul Ryan is full of it. Paul Ryan is a liar, and Paul Ryan is setting up because he wants to be a lobbyist, maybe for pharmaceutical companies, maybe for hospitals, who the hell knows. Rob says, "No, Jordan, we're not getting my health care from the government. What we're getting is the government paying the bill." Yes, that's a good way of saying it. And by the way, when Paul Ryan says the problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's monies, well, apparently Paul Ryan doesn't think there's any way, any time you run out of other working people and poor people's money to pay for rich people's yachts. For that cost, there's an endless amount of money. So there's never any problem with socialism for the rich. There's never any chance of running out of working people and middle-class people who end up paying for the tax cuts for the wealthy people, who end up paying for the tax cuts for the corporations, who end up paying for the subsidies to oil companies, who end up paying for subsidies to the banks, who end up paying for subsidies to Silicon Valley. There's an unlimited amount of money for that. So socialism is basically running out of money, running out of people's money to pay for heating for people's homes, to pay for food for impoverished children, running out of people's money to pay for solar and wind, running out of people's money to pay for fixing the roads, nutrition programs, education, investment in infrastructure, training, and all those things. We're running out of people. You eventually run out of people's money. But for tax cuts for the rich, you could never run out of enough middle-class money to pay for that. For endless war, you could never, ever run out of other people's money for that. Subsidies, you could never run out of people's money for that. Corporate welfare, you could never run out of working people's money for that. Because we pay for it. Because they cut programs for the middle class and for the working poor to pay for it. And for war, we all pay for it in our taxes. This man, it's very difficult to decide who's worse between Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, Ted Cruz, and Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan, I would put up there, maybe number 1 or 2, because he's been this bad for 2 or 3 decades. Jordan Allen says Obama is a war criminal. Why anyone listens to him is beyond me. I think he is a war criminal too. He's a much nicer sounding war criminal than George Bush, but a war criminal is a war criminal. Joe Haggard says, what did Paul Ryan say about Medicare for all? Oh, to my Facebook friends. We have 11 people watching on Facebook. Unfortunately, we have not set up our program yet so that you could see the video clips through Facebook too. We are doing that. We are getting a program for that too. So unfortunately, you didn't see the clip. I'm sorry. Paul Ryan basically said that Medicare for all is socialism, and eventually you run out of other people's money to spend. And he fearmongered that Medicare for all will basically destroy healthcare and take away Medicare for old people and take away the private insurance industry and all this nonsense. That's what he basically said. Sorry you couldn't hear it to my Facebook peeps. Trudy, I'm amazed when a Bernie-crat says Obama was a good president. I mean, I think he was better than Bush. I think he was better than Trump. But a good president? No. There's no bankers in jail. The endless war machine continues. Fracking, there was more fracking under Obama than other than Trump, there was more fracking under Obama than any other president. Jordan Allen says, me too, Trudy. Fear and propaganda is one hell of a cocktail. And why I did Obama in this live stream, why I went after Biden in this live stream, why I went after Paul Ryan in this live stream, is there's one truth, folks. And I'm sorry that I'm saying it 2 weeks before the election, because some people on Twitter have been hating on me. You're going to elect the Democrats, and don't attack the Democrats 2 weeks before the election. They are all full of shit. Every last one of them. And I'm not going to cover for any of them. I'm certainly not going to cover for Obama when he's going out on the campaign trail saying, lobbyists are not the greatest threat to our democracy. Yeah, they are. Sorry. They are. Lobbyists and special interests and the bought-off political system we have is the greatest threat to our election. So I'm not buying Obama's BS on that. Sorry. Biden getting a civil rights award when he literally drafted the crime bill? Not having that either. Sorry. So Paul Ryan, take your fear-mongering, take your corporatism, your social Darwinism, and shove it up your ass. How about that? Neilon, thanks for the $2 for the super chat. We're not going to progress coddling neoliberals. I couldn't agree more. That's why I'm very tough on Democrats. That's why Jimmy is very tough on Democrats. Hey, if Nancy Pelosi and all these people came out tomorrow for Medicare for all and they backed it up with actions and they got rid of all these special interest owners, I'd be cheering for all of them. I don't personally know Nancy Pelosi or any of these people. I'm against their neoliberalism and their policies. It ain't personal. It's policy-based. But I've seen nothing that any of these people have learned a lesson from 2016. Not one lesson. So, before I end today, we got one more story. As a reminder, this is a super chat. If you're feeling super, I just got the news today that I need a root canal. It's going to cost me $3,000 because I have no health insurance right now. So please, I have no dental insurance. So if you're feeling super, show me your love because my credit card bill is going to be heavy this month. Now, and before we end, we're at $13,205. So anyone else? If you got 10, 15, 20 bucks higher, we love you. We appreciate you. This is for In the Field reporting. And Ty actually just messaged me because Ty is honestly, it's funding, but also Ty and his neck problem is why we're not in the field right now. Rob, thank you for the $4.99 in the super chat. Federal government will never run out of money, ever. Just like a carpenter can never run out of inches. No need to beg the rich for money. Ask Stephanie Kelton. Rob, I have reached out to Stephanie Kelton for an interview on MMT, so I will be asking her soon. I really like what she has to say, and I want to learn more about MMT. So you will have that interview soon, my friend. Soon. So before we end, if you know me, you know I'm very passionate about saving the planet, and I have a big problem with the bullshit term energy independence, because nothing we are doing is for energy independence. If we wanted energy independence, we would push solar and wind hardcore. But it's not about energy independence. It's about making more money for oil companies that donate to Democrats and Republicans, keeping their wheels greased so they'll keeping the politicians' campaigns greased. That's all. That's what it's about. So let's take a look, shall we? In a win for Trump, German Chancellor Angela Merkel changes course on U.S. gas imports. Oh my God. Chancellor Merkel has offered government support to efforts to open up Germany to U.S. gas, a key concession to President Trump as he tries to loosen Russia's grip on Europe's largest energy market. Over breakfast this March, the chancellor told a small group of lawmakers her government has decided to co-finance the construction of 500 million euros, 567 million in dollars, liquefied natural gas shipping terminal in northern Germany, according to people familiar with the meeting, giving a crucial nudge to a project that had failed to get off the ground for years in a country that gets most of its gas cheaply from Russia. Mr. Trump has intensively lobbied Europe to buy significant amounts of LNG as part of his campaign to rewrite the terms of trade relations. German and U.S. officials said Berlin hoped embracing U.S. gas might help solve a protracted trade dispute and possibly even diffuse threats by Washington to sanction Nord Stream 2, an unbuilt German-Russian gas pipeline that would double Russia's existing gas export capacity to Germany. As she briefed lawmakers from Germany's northern coastal region, Miss Merkel didn't describe her change of mind as a defeat, but as a, quote, strategic decision that could pay off in the longer term, according to the People. Experts agree that opening up its energy market won't have an immediate economic benefit for Germany, but it could eventually help the country diversified. For years, plans to build an LNG terminal by several groups were stalled because there was no governmental support that would make such a project economical. On October 16th, less than a week after the meeting, an international consortium filed its first official bid for state support for a terminal in the northern town of Stade near Hamburg. A ceremony took place on a terrace overlooking Berlin's landmark Brandenburg Gate in the presence of senior politicians and U.S. Ambassador Richard A. Grenell, a confidant of Mr. Trump and the president's main conduit in his lobbying effort. Quote, "We're creating jobs and we're also deepening the transatlantic relationship. The U.S. is totally committed to bringing U.S. LNG to Europe and to Germany," Mr. Grenell said. So I don't have to read any more of this nonsense because that's exactly what it is. It's total bullshit and it's total nonsense. And why exactly is it so important for Trump to open up U.S. gas exports? Why is that? So just take a guess. Why is it that he made Rex Tillerson the Secretary of State? Possibly so he could keep those big oil donations coming? Is that possible? Possible so he can keep the oil money flowing to the Republican Party? Why else? Because the Dakota Access Pipeline, the Bayou Bridge Pipeline, the Rover Pipeline, the Mountain Valley Pipeline, the Trans-Pecos Pipeline, all of these pipelines are going to export terminals to be shipped offshore to places like, soon to be, Germany. And where is the money going to? Where is that money going to? If we're sending the oil to other countries, if we're sending this to other countries, is that being used for American domestic use? How is that possible if it's going to Germany, Poland, and all these other European countries? How is that possible? It's because it's not. It's going into the bank accounts and then to the shareholders of Energy Transfer Partners, Sunoco Logistics, Phillips 66, largest shareholder is Warren Buffett, by the way, and, of course, ExxonMobil. So enough with this ruse that, these critical infrastructure projects, which now we have laws written by ALEC that make it a felony to protest peacefully anywhere near a pipeline. In Louisiana, they have that, and I think in Minnesota now, too. So this is not for energy independence, and Trump is basically pushing this so we could export more to Germany and other European countries so we could keep the money flowing to the oil men. That's it, folks. That's the game. And as a result, our planet is burning, our temperatures are rising, our water is getting contaminated, our wildlife is getting contaminated, people's sacred land and grounds are being destroyed. I could go on. Bat Chat says, we have already blown our carbon budget. Yep. Trudy, Phil, yes, and laws against monopolies in the press. So I need my favorite troll, Jerry Ross, to sign on because I really need it to be explained to me how it is exporting oil to Germany and Poland and a lot of other countries the U.S. is exporting to. How exactly is that creating energy independence for the United States of America? And where is that money going to? Is the money we get for that, is it going to middle class tax cuts? Is that revenue going to middle class tax cuts or education or infrastructure improvement or government jobs programs or affordable housing? Or is it going to Energy Transfer Partners, Sunoco Logistics, ExxonMobil, Phillips 66, and other energy companies? Please tell me. It is a con. It is a sham and a disgrace. And our planet is suffering because of Trump, because of Obama before him, because of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Because this fracking went under Obama. He didn't do a damn thing while Native Americans and environmental activists were getting their heads beat in at the Dakota Access Pipeline. It's a damn shame. A damn shame. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Paul says, so they're going to move to Mars or just die and not care what happens? I'm not following that conversation, but at this point, we all might need to move to Mars. So, Phil says, yes, it's a complete con, Jordan, with that context. A complete con. So, I'm going to keep covering these things. When we get funding, GoFundMe, we are going to go cover pipelines. We're talking to the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe right now about going to South Dakota and getting on the ground early before construction starts of the Keystone Pipeline. The problem with Standing Rock, although it was amazing, the movement and when cameras finally did show up, but all that happened when the pipeline was almost 60% constructed. Very difficult to stop a pipeline when it's already in construction. A lot easier when you get attention, exposure, and expose corruption before construction. So that's what we want to do. So we need the funding for that. So before I go, I'll do a quick Q&A, comments, questions, concerns. Hit me with it. As a reminder, folks, Sunday, put it in your phones, put it on your calendar. I'm going live all day. Well, I don't know about all day, but for a while. I'm going live starting at 12 noon Eastern because we're launching statuscoup.com. We're launching statuscoup.com, 12 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be doing a marathon for a few hours. We'll be covering a lot of issues. Email Jordan at protonmail.com. Email Jordan at protonmail.com with some ideas, information, whatever you got. Because I'll need some topics, I'll need some stories, and I'll need you to keep the live stream going. And we're definitely going to be pushing the GoFundMe in the live stream, among other things. So thank you. And definitely put it on your calendars. I hope you can make it. I know the NFL is in full swing. If those of you still watch the NFL, hope you could do both at the same time. So, any questions, comments, concerns before I sign off? Let me know. Bernie is a D. Paul, also live, very green from now on. Yes, my backdrop is partially green too. Jordan, would you rather take a run at the title, Bernie or Tulsi? Bernie. Not even a question. I like Tulsi Gabbard, but Bernie is my choice. And I think he's the only person right now, if the election were held today, I think Bernie is the only person that could beat Trump. That could change, but Bernie is the only person I think has the record and the message to beat Trump. Period. I don't think Elizabeth Warren, at this point, can beat him. I don't know if Tulsi Gabbard would either. I definitely am for Tulsi under consideration as vice president. My dream ticket, to tell you the truth, would be Bernie Sanders and Nina Turner. I think she's a dynamic progressive. I think she is a dynamic woman. I think she has an amazing story. I think it comes from her heart and her belly. It's not fake. She's not faking it. She walks the walk. And I would love to see her as the first female vice president. And of course, the first female, the first African-American vice president. Be happy, be grateful. I love you, Jordan. I love you. And I'm so grateful for you. Trudy, don't forget to like and share. It matters. Yes, share this video, like it. And as a reminder, that if you have iOS, please go download MikeGoat. Let me put it here right now. MikeGoat. And go read Jen's story on MikeGoat, because they have a website too. So I'll put the link for her story in there too. She did a great story on Prop C. Mike Goat is our first official sponsor, so we're excited about it. Who's Jordan? Why won't Bernie go on Jimmy Dore's show? I don't know. I don't have Bernie on speed dial. I'll have to ask him. I think he should go on Jimmy's show. Has he declined? Is that what Jimmy's saying? If he's not going on Jimmy's show, I think that's bad, because Jimmy's show is Bernie's base. I would say Bernie's base is Jimmy's show, maybe the Young Turks, but he should definitely go on Jimmy's show, for sure. Why does Jimmy think Bernie is obligated to go on his show? I don't think Jimmy thinks he's obligated. I think Jimmy just wants him on his show. I would love Bernie on my show. Definitely would help with subscribers. We just passed 21,000, by the way. So let's keep the energy up. And by the way, other exciting news. I am going to be releasing my book in full for downloadable, because we've been releasing it chapter by chapter. We are going to be releasing my book introduction through chapter 16, which I just finished, online, and I'm soon, and I'm beginning to start recording the audio version of the book, because a lot of people have asked for that too. So that's going to be available soon. Corporate Con Job, and I've already started writing volume 2. So volume 1 was the book was my time at the Young Turks. Volume 2 is my time after the Young Turks, from the doldrums and depression of November and December to launching this and my reporting trips this year. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Feel free, if you love me, leave a couple bucks. $70K for everyone in the country to bail out Wall Street, still doing it. Seth Rich Hero. Those are two interesting connections. But yeah, we bailed out Wall Street, but we can't bail out people's student loans. We can't bail out actual American people that are in the situation they're in, not because they did anything wrong, but because the government screwed them. That's the truth. So, all right, one more comment, question, concern before I get off. I think we had less viewers today because Joe Rogan was live while I was live. But, you know, it's okay. I like Joe Rogan. La-da-dee, la-da-da. What will be, will be. All right, I think that's it. I don't see any other questions, comments, concerns. Reminder, folks, we are trying to push this GoFundMe. I know it's hard to keep the urgency up. We've had it going on for over a month. We're at 13,205 right now, so we're definitely hoping to get that closer to 15,000 by the end of the month. Thank you to the 223 people who have contributed. Even if you got $5, $10, $15, we really appreciate whatever you could do. If you can't contribute, definitely share it and show people what it's for. It's for in the field, real reporting. Thank you for the contributions to the Super Chat. I will see you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Peace out.